Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Zachariah here with Soul Fuel Agency right here in Topeka, Kansas. And today I'm just going to give you guys a tutorial on how we edit our photos. So we've been working on this. We're just going to go back to the original here. Alright, this is what it looked like straight out of the camera. So the camera that I used for this particular photo shoot was a Canon 7D. It's not the Mark II, just a regular Canon 7D with a 17 to 40 millimeter lens, f4. That is the L series lens, so we've got an awesome quality lens. It has been discontinued, but as you can see, we've got a very nice photo. But there are some things that I'd like to change. So we're going to keep it simple today, but I just wanted to show you a few tips and tricks that I use to make sure that I get the best photo possible. So one thing that I don't like is how the whites here have turned to kind of a yellowy color. This is in part of the warmth of the lights. So what we need to do is we need to take this temperature down over here. And if you look over here on the right side of the screen where my cursor is, we're just going to take this down just a little bit. The best way to measure this is I can't tell you, oh, you're going to put it at 4600K. No, what you do is you just drag this until the photo looks good to your eye. Now this does take some expertise because you need to know what looks good and what is a little too harsh. Now if you like that harsh dramatic look, then that's probably why you're watching this video, because Soul Fuel does love our dramatic poses. However, for this, there are still some things that we need to fix to make it look right, make it look professional, and maximize the quality of this photo. One of those things is the contrast. And that's where we're going to start first. We're going to take this contrast down just a couple notches here. The reason being for this is it allows us to really add to this picture a lot more without damaging the quality of the photo. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn up the highlights just a little bit. As you can see, that really brings out the vest. That really brings out the light on the hat, the accent on the glasses, and on the arm here. And that's what we really want. Also, we want to keep in mind that we've got rings here, we've got a cigar, and so what we want to do is we want to accent the important things in this photo. This is a very intriguing picture, and we want to create it in that way so that you don't lose interest. What I'm going to do next is turn down the shadows. This is going to kind of separate some things at a more even level than what contrast would do. And it's going to bring the darks back in where they need to be. So we're just going to drag that down. Again, not too much, because if we take it down, we lose a lot of the detail on the face over here. So let's pull back the shadows just a bit. Alright, I think right in there is a perfect place for that. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the clarity just a little bit, because if we turn it all the way up here, you can see that we have a little bit too rough of a texture. I like the effect on the photo, but again, we're looking for quality, not just how it looks to the naked eye, because when you print this out, that could be the difference between a good quality and a terrible quality photo. Also, if you take your contrast down, you can see what it does. And what this does is kind of puts a cream mask over your photo, or a hazy mask, and that's something that we don't want. It takes out the realness of the picture. So we just want to take that clarity up just a notch. Here I've got it plus 27. I'd say anywhere between plus 25 and plus 34 is a really good spot. That's kind of my sweet spot. But you, of course, will have a different taste, and you can tweak any of this how you like. Okay, something else that I'm going to do in this photo is just turn the saturation up just a little bit. Again, not much, because we don't want to distort the color of his skin. We don't want to distort the color of his clothing either. We don't want to get too much of that blue shine on this vest, even though we are going to use some of that for this video. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to turn this temperature down just a little bit again. This is going to give us a real clean, real cool look, and that's what I'm going for in this photo. Alright, as we scroll down here, we have hue, saturation, and luminance. What I like to do on this is sometimes, it depends on the photo, I like to mess with the saturation of each particular color. So in this photo we have pink, kind of a purple tone as well. We also have blue, and that's what we're going to mess with today. We just want to make this tie pop just a little more. So I'm going to take the purple on this, and I'm going to pull it down, okay, because the tie was pink, it was not purple. Then I'm going to take the magenta and the red and kind of pull those up. And as you can see, that pink really starts to pop out there. Then I'm going to take the blue and we're going to pull that up as well. Again, not much, just a little bit. Now, this is where your creativity comes in. As you can see, there's just a couple things we need to get off. It looks like a speck of dust right there on the sleeve, on the cuff, and then we also have a little spot right here on the vest. We need to get that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this tool here, and this tool is amazing, and this gives you a brush that you can mess with the size, the feather, and the opacity of this brush. And this allows you, kind of like in Photoshop, it's like the clone stamp tool. So what you would do is the spot that you want to remove, you would adjust your brush to fit that. You would hover just over this spot here, and we can zoom in. Just over this spot, and I see another one right next to it. So what we'll do is we'll just draw a line in the same path as the texture of the vest, because again, we don't want to mess that up. And in this spot, in this particular instance, it has went to where we want it to go. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. And as you can see, that takes care of that spot. Then we'll go over here to the sleeve, and we definitely need to take this brush down quite a bit smaller yet. And here we go. Here's our black speck. We hit that, and let's say that it didn't go where we wanted it to go. You can actually drag this to where you want it, and then drop it and hit enter. We've got rid of the spots that we wanted to get rid of and eliminate. Go back to fit so we can see our whole picture. Alright, and then something that I would like to do is just take my exposure up just a little bit. Alright, see, bringing that exposure up just added a little bit more detail, but we didn't do too much, and so that was the slight subtle change that we needed. Now, I was mentioning earlier how I didn't want a ton of blue in the vest. So how we eliminate that is we go up here to the brush, and we choose saturation. Then we just lower that saturation about halfway here. And then what we can actually do is make our brush smaller and go over the vest where we want to eliminate the blue. And that is going to take our vest back to the white. Again, we don't have to do the whole thing because you want it to look natural, but you can eliminate that wherever you would like to. And I just like to do it right here, kind of on this crease. So we'll make our brush smaller and then go over that. Here we go. And then also on the collar is where I want to take it off. So as you can see this, I like to go around my edges first. It just kind of establishes that border so you don't go out past the point that you need to. And then fill in here. And you can turn your feather up so that it doesn't exactly make such a harsh transition line. So I've got my feather all the way up on this, and it kind of just gives you a little bit of grace if you mess up. So alright guys, I think we're getting really close to this. I'm just going to go through and add some clarity and some light and some highlights to this photo, and then we'll add a radial filter. Again, I'm choosing the brush up here, and I am going to choose clarity. The clarity goes up to, again, about the 48 to 52 range on this. And then I'm going to boost my exposure. The reason why I'm boosting the exposure is because we have two rings down here, and also jewelry and some glasses. So we would like to highlight certain things in this photo, and that's what we're going to use this for. First, let's hit the rings here. This is just going to bring more shine, more glow where the light wasn't hitting that. Sometimes you lack lights, and that's okay, because as long as you understand light, you can go in here and add it where it needs to be. You can, on this, I'm going to turn the exposure down just a little bit and turn the clarity down just a little bit. And then I'm going to boost the highlights. And as you can see, it just adds more of a natural glow. I'm going to raise my brush up just a little bit and kind of layer this so that the glow goes where we want it here. Alright, I'm going to click my brush again, and I'm going to boost that exposure up. Lower my brush. Now I'm just going to click on these earrings here. Maybe boost that exposure again and the highlights. Alright, and then I'm just going to go over the edge of these glasses here. And then go over, I'm going to make my brush bigger, and then I'm going to click in the middle of this glare, and that's going to really bring that out. But we don't want it to go out of there. So let's say you make a mistake and you don't know how to fix it. Well, if you understand light, you understand that darkness is just the absence of light, and light is the absence of darkness. And so say you mess up. We'll just say in this area here. As you can see, I clicked a little bit too many times and my brush was too big, and what it did was mess up his sunglasses. So this is an easy fix. All we got to do is go back in here and hit your brush, turn your exposure down, and to match about the opposite of where you had it over here, let's just go to the opposite side. And then you'll make your brush a little bit smaller, not much, because you want to keep your feather up, and then just turn that exposure down. If you have any experience with painting, you should be familiar with this process. It's the same digitally as it is on a canvas or charcoal drawing, whatever medium you use. This is just a nice way to get in here and do that. Also, you could see me in this camera here, or in this left lens, and so we're just gonna go over that, and that should erase this right on out of there. Maybe turn the exposure down just a little bit in the shadows, and that is going to give us just what we need. So our subject looks great, but I kind of want to smooth out the background. I see kind of a lot of graininess on that black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this radial filter. It's to the left of the brush. And I'm going to click somewhere in the center of my subject, because that's what we want to highlight. I'm going to pull it down and pull it over. And then I'll just kind of drag this to where it needs to be, and I feel like this is a good spot. Alright guys, now there's a couple ways to do this. You definitely want to pull your exposure down or your shadows to get rid of that. You can also pull your clarity down. This is going to give you a soft feel, and for this picture I feel like that is just what we want. We want something that looks smooth, still a little dramatic, and that's what we have here. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. And then for the final touches, I'm just going to add a little bit of noise reduction, not much, because again, we do not want to distort the photo. Well, let's just go 4 points up on the noise reduction and leave the detail right where it's at. Alright guys, I believe we have a finished photo here. This was an awesome monster shoot that we had in our studio for allcashent.com, which is coming soon. I do trust that you guys had a great time watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I would love to help you. Also, stay tuned and like this page for more tutorials, more tips, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future. Go expand your creative mind. Have a great day.